Greetings and welcome to episode 169 of the Words About Gamescast, the weekly video game podcast for Words About Games. I'm your host, Amy Alexander, and I'm joined this week by Keith Robinson. Poke, poke.
Hello.
Hello. I tore myself away from Fire Emblem to be here, so this better be a good episode. Alright. I put up a video for it yesterday. Not when it... That's not when... The podcast comes out on Monday. We're recording this on Saturday. In that video, I have 15 hours on the clock, like in my time played thing. So I always know how much time I've played of the game. Guess how much time I have on my save file clock now?
22.
Higher.
24.
Higher.
32.
29. 29 hours. Between me, I said it at the end of the video as well, I edit on that monitor. For some reason I decided to look at it. As soon as I hit upload and put the thumbnail on and did all the stuff, I walked back over there, sat down and kept playing Fire Emblem. And I haven't really stopped. It's so good. Oh my god. It's so good. I'm not even like halfway through the game yet. Long game. But I'm sure we'll talk more about Fire Emblem when you inevitably get it. For your Switch that you were just playing. It compared it to Persona 5 quite favourably in my video. There are some things it does which were Persona-like. And I enjoy them greatly. No, I'm not dating any of my students. Yet. For those people that don't know out there, don't know why I put the long pause in. They're Words About Gamescast. We discuss 5 stories centered around what's been going on in gaming, the games industry, and gaming culture over the past 7 days. There's been some interesting stuff going on. Before leaving you with a list of games coming out this week. This week, we discuss another game going exclusive to the Epic Games Store and the unique way the developer announced it. A kill streak that is causing controversy for the upcoming Modern Warfare reboot, Rockstar Games, not paying its UK taxes and taking advantage of the video game's tax relief. The ESA leaking the details of over 2,000 press and influencers who attended E3, and the most unique controversy to hit Twitch yet. Timestamps are in the description below the video on YouTube down there, so if you want to watch this whole podcast backwards, or you want to watch it in like really random order, maybe just get like a 6-sided dice and just roll it till you've got a random number sequence and just go nuts.
Just get a randomizer.
Yeah, just get a randomizer, and who knows? Maybe it'll even improve the flow of the podcast, because I literally normally it's very easy to figure out like sequentially which stories to put, like 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And this week, apart from the last one, I was kind of like, I chopped and changed them quite a bit. The order of them. Like, I'm pretty sure all of the first 4 were at one point at number 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't even know why I settled on this order. It was probably just because I wanted to play Fire Emblem. So, shall we?
Yeah. No, let's get into the story of the week that we have every week, it seems.
With a twist. Yeah. I wouldn't have done it if there wasn't a twist. Like, I might just have should we just have a section at the end of the podcast with games out this week, which is just games that have gone Epic Store exclusive this week? Just to check in. I don't like. This one is Ooblets announces Epic Games Store exclusivity, but it's not from a news story. It's from a developer blog post. Strap in for some snark, people. This is directly from the blog post. There's a full blog post over. If you just search Ooblets Epic Games Store, you'll find it. Everybody's talking about it. I've just done excerpts. Everyone kept talking about this Epic thing, so we thought we'd see what it's all about. Here's what these Epic folks are doing. First, they teach every kid in the world these obnoxious dances, and now they're offering funding to game developers in exchange for PC exclusivity on their game store. This is exactly what Mark's warned us about. In case I left that in because I was like, I need to set the tone. I need to let people know what the tone of this blog post is gonna be.
Yeah, they start quoting Karl Marx.
Yeah, Karl Marx warned us about the Epic Game Store, and we didn't listen. It continues. Just imagine if other companies got in their head to offer funding in exchange for exclusives. What would be next? Games consoles paying for games to be exclusives on their consoles? Netflix paying for exclusive shows? Newspapers paying for exclusive articles? It'd be some sort of late capitalist dystopia. Okay, so goofing aside, yes, we've signed with Epic for PC launch exclusivity. It's incredible news for us, and I'm hoping you all can be excited about it too. And then there's a FAQ style thing. I pulled the last bullet point, which is what it means for you. You'll have to install Epic Games Store if you want to buy Ooblets on PC. I know that's asking a lot, but I believe in you and your ability to download a free thing and create a user account. If you haven't already done so to play a Fortnite, which I know you have. I was in capitals on the blog post.
Wrong!
Incorrect. I don't like Fortnite, and when I did download it, I downloaded it on my PS4.
I have not played Fortnite.
Good for you. Good for you. But you also haven't played God of War, so the two things kind of balance each other out.
Or Fire Emblem.
Fire Emblem's only been out a week. Fire Emblem's only been out a week. Like, if you get to your next payday, and you're like, I still haven't bought it, then I'll be like, why I order? Because, this is exactly your thing. Because I know how much you love Persona. Anyway, we're here to talk about Ooblets, not Fire Emblem. No matter how much the battle theme is running through my head constantly. Why'd we do this? So, we had a big decision to make, and we didn't take it lightly. Because Epic doesn't yet have the same market share as their competitors, they offered us a minimum guarantee on sales that would match what we'd be wanting to earn if we were just selling Ooblets across all of the stores. That takes a huge burden of uncertainty off of us because now we know that no matter what, the game won't fail and we won't be forced to move back in with our parents. But we do love and appreciate you parents. Now we can just focus on making the game, without worrying about keeping the lights on. The upfront money they're providing means we'll be able to afford more help and resources to start ramping up production and doing some cooler things. We're aware of the backlash that's been hitting games that sign with Epic. I don't expect much of our uniquely lovely community to fit into this weird anti-Epic contingent, but I figured I'd share our thoughts and have an open conversation about the issues. I've read through all the arguments against Epic, and they all basically come down to a couple of core issues. Number one, Epic Games Store doesn't have as many features as other stores. As a user of both Steam and Epic Games Store myself, I haven't had any issues with using Epic Games Store to buy and play games personally. But regarding the features that are still missing, that's just sort of the way software is developed. Things take a lot longer to develop properly than people tend to realise, and nobody comes to market with perfect software. I remember way back when I plopped the disc for Half-Life 2 into my PC for the first time and was forced to install this new thing called Steam. I remember that too. It was a barely functional mess back then, as anyone who used it from that time period could tell you. It's true. It's had 15 years to improve. If it wasn't worthwhile to improve, it wouldn't have been, and you wouldn't still be using it. I'm sure there's a team of folks working on launcher features for Epic Games Store, and their work depends on the platform being worthwhile from a market share perspective to keep going. Number 2, it's anti-consumer to have exclusives. This is the most common complaint about Epic, but I don't think people have really thought it through. I can understand the frustration of having to buy different consoles to play the games you want, but there's no extra cost to using Epic Games Store. The store and launcher just require a free sign-up. It's not like having to pay for HBO and Netflix and Hulu to watch all the shows you want. It's more like just having to press a button on your remote to change between free channels. TV channels. It's also really disappointing to see folks threatening to pirate a game just because they can't get it on the game launcher they used to. Feeling like you're owed the product of other people's work on your terms or else you'll steal it is the epitome of the word entitlement that people use to discuss immature toxic gamers. I get the appeal of wanting to seek out things to get angry about. Venting anger is cathartic and natural. But let's have just a little perspective about what we decide to get angry about. Look at the things going on around you and ask yourself if there might be anything just a tad more worthwhile to be upset about. Here are a few suggestions. Climate change, human rights abuses, the new Twitter desktop UI, the last season of Game of Thrones. Those last two were jokes, please don't yell at people about them. So let's remember that this is all low-stakes video game stuff we're dealing with, nothing to get worked up about. That was long. Keith, thoughts?
Yeah. The first thought was There's the guy who wrote this word for beautiful glitch because I had some like, especially when you were reading now, just some like flashbacks to some of the stuff you see in Monster Brum, where it just kind of goes off on weird tangents. The second thing is I do not like the new Twitch UI. I'm well within that group of like, what did you do? This is a step backwards.
Of all the things in the story, you were just like, yeah, fuck the new UI. Epic Game Store though, like to be like,
I like their announcement.
I love their announcement. I think it's fantastic. I think they've jumped in and they've just said a bunch of stuff people like us have been saying for the past seven. It's only been 7 months. People have
I
been
know.
saying, yeah.
I mean, I've got a prediction writing on this, and so far I'm just sitting there. It's like I know I said Steam would double down, like the Valve would double down on that. Hey, everyone, like all games are welcome on all like platform and everything. But that count when they literally do nothing.
I don't know. That's the thing. Like Steam doing so, that would require Steam to do something, and Steam don't
It's
do
like
do things. Doing
I'm
things
trying to
is
think if like I'm at the end of the day I may have to actually troll through like Valve press releases just to see if it actually mentioned anything because
once,
they haven't done anything.
and it wasn't in a press release. It was on the Metro Exodus Steam store page
Yeah.
where they were talking about how unfair it is, which was the only time I was like, yeah, that kind of shitty. Like, this isn't. I love this announcement. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
I love the tone of it. I love how they've just come out. They've been like, look, we know there's going to be a backlash. Here's why the backlash is silly. Can we just get on with making our game, please? Like, this is what we've been talking about for ages, but it comes from a developer, not from two goofy dumbasses on the internet.
Yeah.
So this is legit, which legitimizes us. We're more legit. Keith, how do you feel about being more legit?
I'm not legit. I'm counterculture.
How dare you? I'm punk rock, bitch. There's a lot of cool stuff in here. Like, yes, Steam sucked 15 years ago when Half-Life 2 came out. I bought that game to play Counter-Strike, which means I was exclusively using the Steam client, and it was fucking awful. How dare they tie Half-Life 2 exclusively to Steam? Blah blah. I love the thing he says about it's not like HBO and getting HBO and Netflix and Hulu to watch It's like changing the channel on your TV. Like, I love that analogy.
I came to Steam in 2012 in February.
My current Steam account is tied to a different email address. So, fun fact, I don't actually own Half-Life 2 or Counter-Strike because it's on a different Steam account I never bother logging in with. Yeah, I love the analogy of the TV remote. Brilliant analogy. I love how they get out. They try to get out ahead of the backlash. The backlash has still happened. Like, yeah. And this time around, I'm looking at it and I'm just like, this is kind of. I don't want to be mean about other people on the internet, especially considering some of them are fellow YouTube people, but kind of pathetic.
Yeah.
Like there's people specifically going after the tone of the announcement, and it's just like, look, they've come out, they've been a bit snarky. I'm all for snark, and they've just laid the facts out. Epic Game Store have promised. Epic Game Store basically must have come to them. Must have come to the Ooblets dev team and just gone. How many units were you hoping to sell to break even? Oh, this many. And Epic's just gone, cool. Well, here's that money. So now they can go. Oh my god, this game will not fail no matter what. Like, this game will now not fail. We can just focus on making the game. They were talking about, in another part of the blog post, they're going to hire... There's one person doing all the programming on Ooblets. And now they can hire somebody else. Like, to ramp up the game.
Go, Tom. You're fired.
No,
we've got someone new.
So they have two people.
Oh, right.
They're not replacing the original programmer. They're doubling the amount of people working on the game.
Yeah. This is like, they just had the janitor working on the program.
I can't remember now. Oh, I wish I'd put it in there, like, because she does a lot. Like, the programmer also does, like, a bunch of other stuff. I'm pretty sure there's only, like, 3 or 4 people working on Ooblets.
Yeah.
which, by the way, looks fantastic. I've been anticipating this game for a while, and they said it was coming out soonish in November of last year. And I don't know about your definition of soonish, but it greatly differs from mine. The entitlement thing is as well, because like obviously there's a lot of people going out to boycott. Well, we're gonna pirate the game now because it's on the Epic Games Store. That's dumb.
Yeah.
That is entitlement. Like a lot of people, like a lot of times people use the word entitlement
to a criminal conviction to download a game
because I didn't agree that it should. I thought it should have been on Steam too. Like, okay, if that's the hill you want to die on, go ahead
and you will,
and you will.
No, it is at this point. It is. I do think it is. Not everyone, but there was a large number of people who are still going on about going on Epic Games Store. Just for like tribalism at this point, like pointless tribalism as well. It's like people are getting mad about games which are they pre-ordered, which are coming on like on their preferred thing. I can understand that a little, depends how far they go with it. But games which are like some of these announcements are like, oh yeah, it's going to be on the Epic Store. It's like, what? No, it's like should be on Steam, and the kind of like it's because Steam was the place everyone used to go.
Yeah.
But now there's a choice, and it literally costs nothing.
Well, choice. When they're exclusive, there is no choice. But again, it's not like. I mean, how many times have we proffered this counter and claim?
Yeah.
It's not like I have to go out and buy an entirely new console to play Ooblets.
Yeah.
I can just download the Epic Games Store launcher.
Yeah.
Which I did. I did immediately. Like the night after the Game Awards, I downloaded the Epic Games Store launcher. They start giving us games, man.
I haven't got it when they started giving you like money off games. It's like,
oh yeah, £10 off every game. That was cool.
Yeah,
that was a bit shitty. Actually, they didn't tell the developers they were doing that.
Yeah,
but yeah, like there's some stuff about Tencent being a like non-majority shareholder in Epic Games, and how like, oh, I'm not going to support them because there's a conspiracy. For starters, there's a conspiracy theory going around where it's like, oh, Tencent, they take all the data of everybody from the Epic Games Store, and then they sell it to people. I mean, no. And also, if that's true, guess what, buddy? A lot of the companies that make the video games that you play have also like partially owned by Tencent. They own a lot of companies, like tiny stakes in a lot.
Yeah. Also, the whole thing of like games like viewing your hardware and stuff. You may want to have a look at some of those terms and conditions on games because there's a fair few on Steam, which I remember had to change stuff because they were basically snooping on your computer.
Yeah, because they were like, oh, they're checking your hardware. Steam does it.
Yeah.
Steam does that. Because there's an opt-in. I'm hope I've opted out of it, but there's a thing where you can opt in. It asks me every now and again, do you want to opt in at this? Hell fucking no, I don't want to opt in at this. Get out of here, Steam. Like, I don't know. Yeah, there's the 10-cent thing. People who want like, there's some other stuff as well, like other arguments people are making, and it just boils down to this is stupid. This is a stupid thing to be arguing about. If you don't want to buy the game on the Epic Games Store, that's totally reasonable. Fine, okay, I get it, right. Don't buy it on the Epic Games Store for any number of reasons that you personally feel to be the truth. That's absolutely cool. Don't pirate games. Don't boycott games. Don't make ranty YouTube videos about like, this is not the way you announce an Epic Games Store exclusive. This is exactly the way you announce an Epic Games Store exclusive.
If you wanted to get any attention at the moment, because otherwise it's a Thursday.
Yeah, like we said, they were at least the developers of Ooblets went out of their way to, one, make me laugh, and two, to like explain, by the way, this is why we've done this. It's like we talked about MechWarrior and Shenmue like, in past weeks, and it's like both of those games got delayed and went on the Epic Game Store. So I wouldn't be surprised if they were like, we need money to finish this game properly, and Epic went, here's some money, and they went, thank you. Thank you.
Given Piranha's only revenue stream is an online game where like people have to continually pop up money like every few months for them to keep working. I'm not surprised they jumped on Epic's offer.
Yeah, do it. More devs are gonna do it. They get a better revenue share. They get guaranteed income. They don't have Steam forums, Steam reviews. They don't have a toxic, vocal minority of a user base that goes on every game with a female protagonist and complains and is like, but why can't I play as a dude? Like, shut up, that's why. And also, they cracked a joke about Game of Thrones, final season of Game of Thrones, so I'm all on board. Whatever. Good
for
job.
Me, it was Twitter. For you, it was the Game of...
Yeah. Also, I've been following the developers of Ooblets for years on Twitter. They're both really cool people. So, speaking of controversy, this is the controversy episode. In fact, I just realized every single one of these stories is a controversy. We did it. Number 2, Call of Duty Modern Warfare Killstreak causing controversy. This is split into 2 parts. There's the initial story and the rebuttal. Let's just start. Part 1. Killstreak's return in the new Call of Duty Modern Warfare. This is written by Tom Phillips over at Eurogamer, who writes, this year's Call of Duty Modern Warfare will bring back Killstreak's publisher Activision has revealed. The rebooted Boots on the Ground shooter. I thought we were done with Boots on the Ground after World War II, but apparently we weren't. I hate that term. The rebooted Boots on the Ground shooter is the first in a while to include the feature. Other recent games have used a simpler score streak system which tracks other actions as well as kills, and is the only reason I ever got score streaks in Black Ops 4. So thanks for taking it out, Modern Warfare. In Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2019, you'll be able to unlock the hulking Juggernaut armor and drive a tank. But perhaps most eye-openingly, you'll also be able to call in a burning white phosphorus smokescreen. White phosphorus is an extremely horrible material I encourage you not to Google, and which you may remember from a harrowing scene in Spec Ops The Line. The chemical is banned for use against civilians, but not soldiers, and its recent deployment in Syria prompted Amnesty International to suggest its use against the country's general population there constituted a war crime. Fun thing for video games. The chemical is... nope. Quote. Sorry, it did a thing where it spun around and then it lost my place in the story. Quote, cover the battlefield with white smoke flare canisters that will disorient the enemy and burn any that wander too close. Activision's Killstreak description reads, I have no idea why I went to Skeletor for that. The chemical is most frequently...
Or so some sort of leave you looking like Skeletor? I don't know.
The chemical is most frequently used as a smokescreen, as is described here, but it can also be used as an incendiary weapon which does enormous damage to human skin. It's this latter application which was memorably featured in Spec Ops The Line, a game Eurogamer reporter Emma Kent has written about previously and where its usage is questioned. Avoid the following paragraph if you care about spoilers.
I'll put my hand down and mute it when the spoilers are over.
In Spec Ops The Line, the player is faced with an impossible situation where they must use white phosphorus in order to progress, but the player must also face the consequences of their actions, and is forced to walk through a gory scene showing the civilians they killed with horrific chemical burns. As the decision to continue playing rather than walk away is the player's choice, Spec Ops asks whether the player is truly the hero, and questions the uncritical use of warfare as a subject for light entertainment. End quote. You can put your hand down now. Did you have a question? So that was part one. That was part one. White phosphorus is bad.
Do you feel like a hero yet?
Ugh, I love that game so much, but man, it just broke me. It broke my soul in half. Such a good game, though. We'll talk about it in a bit. Part 2. Infinity Ward says Call of Duty Modern Warfare multiplayer, quote, a different play space and a different vibe, quote, compared to campaign. This is from Wesley and Poole over at Eurogamer, who writes, the inclusion of white phosphorus in Modern Warfare has been questioned online due to its controversial reputation in real life warfare. Recap of what I've just read. Modern Warfare's campaign is billed as a gritty and realistic depiction of war inspired by current headlines and events. It includes a level featuring a terrorist attack in Piccadilly Circus, and another in which you play as a child soldier who must stab a Russian soldier to death. At an Activision-hosted event in Los Angeles this week, Infinity Ward multiplayer director Jeff Smith was asked by a video game journalist Chris Priestman in an interview attended by Eurogamer whether the studio had any responsibility in multiplayer to reflect the tone of the campaign in context of this week's debate about the white phosphorus killstreak. Quote, for us it's a detachment. Our game is more about two sides and there is no good guy or bad guy. You can play on either one and we're just creating this playground to play on. I always felt like in the previous games, multiplayer is the distant weapons fire you hear a few blocks away from where the single player is. Oh, that's a terrible analogy. I haven't read that part until I just did that. We all share the same world and they set the scene, but we're a different player space and a different vibe, and it goes across trying to create this big breadth of content with different things for different people. It's just a different experience. We're presenting a player space. We had a nuke in previous games. Maybe people are reacting to the more realistic visuals. If it was cartoony, would it be more acceptable? End quote. Keith, your thoughts?
Well, one of my thoughts is, why is it that London is replacing New York as the city which gets destroyed by in media, like in this year and the last 2 years? It's like
Brexit.
Fair enough. Okay, so
Second.
kill streaks and Black Ops what an adult play. Like, I don't really play first person shooter matches and stuff. I mean, I know Titanfall and I've played Halo in the past.
You don't play Call of Duty.
Yeah.
Let's just make it simple.
Yeah. I mean, when they're going on about the gritty realism in the campaign and stuff, I'm kind of hoping we don't get to see these child soldiers being used as prostitutes or given hand grenades and wander off to blow themselves up, because that's kind of what child soldiers get used for in the real world. It's a really horrific and horrible thing. Whereas I have got a feeling that that's not really what it's going to be shown to be like in the Call of Duty campaign. As well, like, we've taken inspiration from the headlines around the world and stuff. That just, most people believe that's not true, but if they did, I'm going to be really, really surprised. However, given we've read about something called Juggernaut armor, I don't think it's going to be too grounded.
It's Call of Duty. I mean, that's the multiplayer. The Juggernaut armor is from the multiplayer. This is the big problem, right? You said something interesting I want to get back to you in a second. But for me, it all boils down to... I've always felt like... I voiced this a while ago on one of the podcasts where we talked about Call of Duty Modern Warfare. Like, I've felt uneasy about Modern Warfare since probably E3, where they talked about how it's going to be this great realistic thing and terrorism, terrorists in a London flat, and it's going to be super realistic depiction. It's fucking Call of Duty, man. Like, I don't trust Call of Duty to be able to handle that kind of tone. I mean, look at No Russian. Like, just look at No Russian. Look at the scene, ironically, from London in Modern Warfare 3 with the terrorist gas attack where the family's videoing it and the kids running around. And then the dudes jump out of the van and run off, and then it blows up and kills everybody. Like, they don't do these things, historically, for gritty realism. They do it to shock people, to make headlines, to get people talking about
their
game. It's a Modern Warfare trick. It was really cool in the first game when the nuclear bomb exploded. Because it was shocking, and it was portrayed quite well, where it's like the guy's walking to try and then he dies of radiation poisoning. But then they try to top it, and then they try to top it again. And this just feels like they're trying to top it again, and I don't think they should. But
How would they go on the top? The invasion of the United States by Russia, complete with nuclear weapons used as EMP.
I mean, it
I
literally
mean,
blew you up with a nuke in the first one. It's like,
yeah,
as far as nuclear weapon usage goes, it's actually been de-escalated as the game has gone.
yeah.
Um, but the shit, you've done it to
I'm
me
just
this
thinking
time.
the only way they could escalate this further is the fighting going on. Nukes start falling everywhere. Your character falls unconscious and then wakes up with a person in a blue jumpsuit with some like gadget strapped to their arm.
God, no, please, no, no. No, I mean the controversy. They're trying to one up the controversy each time. That's why we've got child soldiers stabbing a Russian soldier,
Yeah.
which isn't going to be handled tastefully because it's also Call of Duty and it has to be a big, bombastic, exploding Michael Bay film. But that's not the issue here. The issue here is this is in the multiplayer, and what they're trying to do is they're trying to say, well, they're two separate experiences. Oh, they thought because I'm pretty sure if I buy Modern Warfare, I'm getting both things, and you're like, I don't give a shit if white phosphorus is in the game or not. Like, it's not something that personally offends me or anything. Like, it's not going to be handled tastefully, and I'll get around to that when I review the game later this year. But like, if you're trying to do this thing where you're like, okay, we're going to have a gritty depiction, it's going to depict the horrors of modern warfare. And now you can come into deathmatch and run around and shooty, juggernaut armor, tanks, blow everyone up, burn through your enemies with white phosphorus grenades. Like, you're creating a total imbalance.
Yeah.
No one's imagining that. And no matter how much you try to say one thing is separate from the other, it's one game. If Modern Warfare was coming out and it was a standalone, story-driven campaign, and then the multiplayer was coming out, it was something called something else different, and it was a different game entirely, then I could see the point, because they are two different things. But one is undercutting the tone of the other. And in that regard, yeah, I totally like agree with, like, you shouldn't be like, you can't say, ooh, gritty, realistic, and then like, here's a war crime in a hand grenade. Go throw it at people.
Just remember in Titanfall too, and I think possibly the first one as well. There's things called fire stars, which are basically phosphorus grenades, which you throw at Titans, which burn. And the idea is to like blind any like Titans with them because
Indeed.
they burn out sparks everywhere. No mention of it being gritty realism and stuff.
No,
in that
there is no
game.
gritty realism in Titanfall. Titanfall 2 is not trying to be gritty and realistic. It's a fucking Rock'em Sock'em Robot simulator. So it's the best Rock'em Sock'em Robot simulator there's ever been.
Welcome something robot similar / parkour kill off. Yeah.
Yeah, and every now and again you get a parkour around with a submachine gun and shoot people in midair. Just like your bird ring in Overwatch League. The other thing you mentioned before about them actually ripping from the headlines and capturing the feel of being in warfare. There was this great Twitter thread by this ex-soldier. Yeah, it was ages ago. I think it was after E3 again, where it was just like he was quite angry. I wish I could recall the specifics of the Twitter thread. I just recall it was a thing that happened. Because they kept using the thing of like, oh, experience real warfare, and it's just like he's just like, no video game could ever capture the horrors of real warfare. So it just becomes a marketing line.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's a good point. Like that is a good point. Like, there's people like, I'm sure people are going to come to this and watch it and be like, why are you arguing against gritty realism in games? It's like, I'm not. I'm arguing about the tonal undercut.
Yeah.
Games can do this. Spec Ops The Line did it fucking brilliantly. I don't think anyone's ever going to top the way Spec Ops The Line just actually makes you feel like a piece of fucking garbage by the time you're done with it. In a good way. Like, it actually makes you think, like, about how terrible shooting people is.
Mm-hmm.
Or dropping white phosphorus on them. Or shooting into a crowd of unarmed civilians. But go play Spec Ops The Line. It's fucking outstanding. Just make sure you're reading the loading screens. To start off, really helpful. And then they ask you some questions a therapist would be asking you. And there's no easy answers. Shall we move on?
Yeah.
Number 3. I don't know why I took a drink when I said I'll start talking. But I needed a drink. Rockstar hasn't paid UK corporation tax in 10 years, claims investigative think tank. Do you think just once we could have a think tank in an actual it's just some scientists in a tank?
Depends what sort of tank.
Any. Just a tank. I just want it to be like, it's a think tank. Oh, it's an actual tank full of people who are thinking about stuff. This is from Hayden Taylor over at GamesIndustry.biz, who writes, Rockstar North has paid a no corporation tax over the past 10 years, according to a report from investigative think tank TaxWatch UK. While the company has paid tax in some years, overall it has received more money back than it has paid out. According to Rockstar North's account filings in Companies House, in 2018 it received £26.9 million in credit, up from £13.1 million the year prior. Feels weird reading all this stuff and having pound signs in front of me, because normally it's dollars.
Normally it's in America.
Released over the weekend, the TaxWatch report also states the game giant has issued claims for £42 million in video game tax relief between 2015 and 2017. The figure accounts for 19% of all tax credits granted to the British games industry since the relief was introduced in 2014. You'll remember this part. Video game tax relief is available for games that pass a British cultural test, which considers content, cultural contribution, development hubs, and personnel. While published by US-based Rockstar Games, Grand Theft Auto 5 was developed by Rockstar North in Edinburgh, Scotland. Since launching in 2013, Grand Theft Auto 5 has become the most profitable entertainment product of all time.
It's always in the
It's always in
NMP.
the MPDs. Between 2013 and 2018, TaxWatch estimates the total sales of the game at $6 billion, with the developers' estimated operating profit reaching $5 billion and total bonus pool of $3.4 billion available for top managers for the period. The report also found that the 7 UK-based Take-Two and Rockstar companies declared a total pre-tax profit of just £47.3 million between 2013 and 2018. The think tank is now calling on HMRC to urgently investigate the tax structure of Rockstar Games and parent company Take-Two in the UK. HMRC told GamesIndustry.biz that around half of the large UK businesses are under investigation for tax reasons at any one time, and it cannot comment on specific cases. Quote, "It is outrageous that the UK taxpayer is being asked to shell out tens of millions of pounds in subsidies to the developers of Grand Theft Auto, when at the time that the game's developers put in their tax accreditation application, Grand Theft Auto 5 had already generated several $1 billion in sales and profits," said TaxWatch Director George Turner. "This is a drive-by assault on the British taxpayer and corporate welfare scrounging at its very worst." The video games tax relief was designed to help developers of games with a cultural content that would struggle to sell in the international market. The fact that such a large amount of the relief is going to the developers of Grand Theft Auto clearly shows that the relief is not working as intended. You know I'm going to say it. Thoughts?
I remember an American's game company were discussing like a month or so ago, where they got like a really large tax rebate from the US government whilst
where it was
declaring
like
massive profits
they
and also
paid-
having just laid off like 200 staff.
Was it EA or was it Activision?
So Activision?
Yeah, it's like the United States taxpayer paid Activision to basically make Call of Duty and Crash Team Racing.
It's the same thing. It's like, what?
It is the same thing, because all the profits of... I was reading, there's tons more information you can find about this if you search for Grand Theft Auto right now. The profit, even though the game is developed in Edinburgh, the profits for the game are reported in America. So, not Rockstar North have only actually made a profit since 2013 of like £47 million, even though they've made their game that they developed has made $6 billion.
And I was going to say that also that for tax reasons they're based in Luxembourg or something.
That was
but
Activision.
No, that's
There's an office in the Netherlands in a basement somewhere. That's where all their IP lives.
Yeah.
Which is why they get away with it. Rockstar North gets away with it in this country because of this. It's the fact that they use the video game tax relief system to get more money that really fucking... That's... I mean... You said it yourself. Grand Theft Auto is never not in the NPD. Grand Theft
Yeah,
Auto
like,
is the best-selling, not just video game, the best-selling entertainment product of all time. It's bigger. If you think of any movie, any TV show, any game, anything, any music, comic, it's bigger than all of it. It's bigger than anything. It's bigger than Avengers Endgame. That's fucking man. And they're like, could we have some money, please?
Yeah, the thing is, like, when you look at like the thing that has to pass for the test for like the British coach or whatever thing to apply for the grant, where's Grand Theft Auto 5 set?
Oh shit! I don't actually know. Damn it! Why did it lost something or other?
It's set in like a fictional like city, which is basically like San Andreas, is it? No, San Andreas wasn't expected. Like
that was
Los Angeles, but not. Yeah. And yeah.
Los Santos.
Los Santos.
Loosely based on Los Angeles and other California coast cities.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And it was made in Britain.
It was made in Britain, which is why they can get away with the tax relief thing, I think.
Well, yeah, but it's like British cultural things that wouldn't like survive in the open market. It's set in America.
Yeah,
it doesn't have anything to do with Britishness.
No, not at all. But it was made in Britain by a British development studio. I think that's what's happened. I don't think the restrictions on the video game tax relief are tight enough that basically if you're a developer in Britain, you could probably get tax relief, like for your game project, regardless of whether it's fucking Grand Theft Auto or not. Like, because it's probably because one time one of the expansions, the original Grand Theft Auto, was GTA London. So there you go. So that's cultural enough for you. Like, yeah. I remember we laughed about this. Do you remember? Yeah, it was years ago when they came up with this. And we had a good laugh at like, what the hell does a British game look like? Turns out, looks like GTA 5. Oh, it's not that just they take. It's that they take so much. 19% of all of the money given out via the video game tax relief in the UK is given to Rockstar North. Essentially, if you're listening to this or watching this and you're a British taxpayer, congratulations, you're funding the development of GTA 5. This is everything they warned us about. Oh my god. I mean, the fact that they don't pay corporation taxes, by the by, that's not surprising.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of companies in Britain that don't.
No, I didn't put it. If it had just been, oh, they don't pay corporation tax, I would have been like, yeah, whatever. Like, I wouldn't have even put it in the podcast this week. But it was the fact that they take money for being culturally British. I mean, I haven't played GTA 5, but I've seen enough of it to know that shit ain't culturally British.
I mean,
anyway.
There's a guy in there called Trevor who I think would fit in really well with Glasgow, but
yeah, Glasgow on a Friday night. Like, do you think there's just like, do you think we just misjudged GTA based on all of the trailers and stuff? And if we actually sit down and play it, it's like Downton Abbey, the video game.
No.
But with cars and explosions.
No, I've seen enough of it, of clips, to know that it's not. It's so not that.
Do you think someone's making Downton Abbey a video game?
There's probably a parody somewhere out there.
Probably.
Uptown Abbey.
I think the moment's past now. It was a cultural phenomenon a while back. I feel like that would have been the moment. So I'd be like, here's our Downton Abbey. Yeah, Telltale Games. I haven't seen Downton Abbey. Telltale Games would have made a brilliant Downton Abbey game, though. Whew. Anyway, you okay? You were kind of like listening intently.
Yeah, sorry.
No, that's fine. I wanted to make sure.
There's a Downton Abbey board game.
We don't care about board games on the Words About Gamescast. On the Words About Gamescast, We don't talk about board games. It's video games. It's a video game podcast. I said the word video games like 6 times in the intro.
Video game.
Video games.
Video game. It's a video game. Anyway, I think we've said enough about that.
Yeah, let's move on to number 4. Full disclosure alert. That's the word I was looking for. Full disclosure alert. I picked a writer of this story who, well, it's written in a certain manner. You'll pick it up as I go. E3's organisers have leaked personal details of over 2,000 media members. This is from Alice O'Connor over at Rock Paper Shotgun, who writes, the Entertainment Software Association, the North American games industry body whose responsibilities include organising E3, have quasi-accidentally leaked personal details of over 2,000 people. The names, addresses, phone numbers and more of folks who registered for E3 2019 badges, disclosure including some of our own, were posted online in a spreadsheet that apparently anyone could download. The ESA, who also lobby governments on behalf of big publishers and founded the ESRB ratings board, have not apologised, but do say they, quote, regret this occurrence, end quote. Oh, that's fine then. Excuse me. As YouTuber Sophia Norwitz pointed out, the private details were available for goodness knows how long on a publicly accessible webpage through a link titled Registered Media List. That led to a spreadsheet with names, company names, email addresses, physical addresses, and more for a reported 2,025 journalists, bloggers, YouTubers, streamers, financial analysts, and such. Minimize that. The media list is meant to be a private one used by games industry folks to arrange demonstrations, interviews, meetings, and such at E3. Now it's public. I don't doubt it'll find an unpleasant new use. The ESA gave a garbage response to VentureBeat, quote, ESA was made aware of a website vulnerability that led to the contact list of registered journalists attending E3 being made public. Once notified, we immediately took steps to protect that data and shut down the site, which is no longer available. We regret this occurrence and have put measures in place to ensure it will not occur again, end quote. They may have pulled the list, but evidently it got out and could be passed around. You can't close the door on leaked data. The ESA's non-apology and expression of regret will be of little comfort to those affected, and especially those worrying that their home addresses or phone number, if they didn't use business details, may now be in the hands of fraudsters, identity thieves, or self-appointed sworn enemies. Hasn't been the greatest of fun being in the games media over the past few years, you might have heard. Wider tides of culture not mad keen on the media either. Good-o. If the media list were available to internauts in Europe, and I'd be surprised if it somehow weren't, the ESA could face fines for violating the General Data Protection Regulation. Thanks, ESA. Nice one. Smashed it. Thoughts?
Internet?
Internet.
Yeah.
I think he was meant to say internet, and I think someone's autocorrect fucked them. But
I didn't know
it could be a thing, which is why I left it in.
Yeah. Like people who just like surf around inside the like web of cyberspace. Internet. I
mean, that could be a thing.
Yeah.
You
but
talk,
no. This is kind of. It's concerning. I mean, what was it? Dr. Disrespect had someone take shots at his house.
Yeah, that was a thing that happened. Internet's a user of the internet, especially a habitual or skilled one. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, did daily abuse female female people in the games industry receive? The sort of violent, sort of entitled reaction of many people on the internet nowadays. This is not great. I mean, swatting was bad enough when it was happening to people on who are like playing like Call of Duty and stuff. Now you've got people who go out of their way if they see an article they don't like to have armed response teams turn up to some journalist's home.
That's one thing that could happen, yeah, sure. Like a dude could turn up with a fucking gun.
Yeah, or send police with guns to harass them.
Yeah. Or just open fire on your house if they don't like what you say. Because we've been there. Like, we're in it, we read it, we see it all the time. Like, there are a lot of people who are fucking not all there in the head. Like, and there are people who just spew filth at other people, like, because they didn't like their favorite game or because they talked shit about stuff. We get it from time to time, and we're tiny little fucking YouTube people. Like, imagine someone like Andrea Renee or Greg Miller, like fucking huge people that lots of people don't like. And now you could probably find, because they were both at E3, now you could probably find their contact details. Like, okay, so like, let's say they used a business address. Cool, but that's their business. They still work there. Like, wow, this was a fucking terrible, terrible move from the ESA. Like, in a time when like they're having problems anyway. We talked about some of them a little while ago. Like, this
I
is
haven't had the greatest comeback to the whole loot box thing.
no, I mean the loot box thing. This E3 is rapidly like shrinking. Like, people were talking about this. Maybe this might be the last E3, and like, I mean, if it is, if it is, this might certainly be a nail in the coffin because I don't see many people wanting to go
Yeah.
again next year. Like, if you're a YouTuber or a vlogger or a financial analyst, like, oh, we've made sure that this will never occur again. Have you? Are you sure? Are you sure?
What's that to taking? Have you made sure that, like, instead of making sure that link doesn't go, like, for, like, the internet and stuff, have you actually put the information somewhere?
Yeah. Like, and like you're going to be asking people next year if E3 goes ahead, like, to trust you, like, with their information again. And I mean, hopefully nothing comes of any of this leak. Like, hopefully no one reports getting like harassing phone calls. Hopefully nothing even worse happens, like the worst case scenario stuff we just talked about. Like, I really hope like nothing comes of it, but like, it's pretty scary when you think about how the discourse is. Like, I chose the rock paper shotgun article to like read because there was a ton, obviously, because everybody's talking about this. It happened like today, or possibly yesterday, and I chose the rock paper shotgun article because Alice Organa was like, like, the article is written in the term of I'm fucking furious about this, and I was like, yeah, I'll use that one because that's something like, yeah, be furious about it. Like, potentially, like, everyone on 8chan could have all these people's contact details.
Probably do.
That's fucking terrifying. That is actually legitimately fucking terrifying. And they don't even, like, my contact details went on there, and I find that terrifying. Like, fuck my life. These people, like, the ESA, like, oh. The more I think about it, the more angry I'm getting about it as well. Like, shit. Sort it out. Like, just, like, yeah, like, there's nothing anybody can do now because that'll be made a file that's downloadable. Someone will have it. It's out there now. Regardless of whether they close the thing, like, don't put all this fucking sensitive data on a fucking hyperlink for anyone to click on. You fucking gormless idiots. Nice one, ESA. You smashed it. Fucking dicks. Should we move on?
Yeah.
I didn't expect to get that wound up about it, but the more we were talking about it, the more I was thinking about the potential consequences. It was just like, Jesus Christ, if my stuff had been on there, like, fuck, I would be moving house right now.
Well, when you think that's like there'll be people that you know from the industry that names will be on that list. I think like all of also like fourth, like fifth of the outside Xbox / outside extra crew went to E3. Their details will be on that list.
Yeah, it just
was Ninja there. I don't know. I mean,
it doesn't talk about Doc Disrespect was there, or the press pass. It doesn't mention if that's everyone, if that like 2,025 people, if that's literally like everybody who had a badge. It might be. I don't know what the numbers are like for all the people who are actually going to E3. I don't know whether that seems on the low side or not. I know they were
Yeah.
very stingy with press badges this year because
Hmm.
I know there were certain outlets that had difficulties like getting
Yeah.
enough badges to send people to E3. Like, so maybe that might be right. Like E3 is just something like I fucking love E3, right? Every year. I love sitting down, I love the press conferences, I love doing the reactions, I love watching all the interviews and the demos afterwards, but E3 needs to do something drastic. It needs to change something
Hmm.
because people are moving away. EA isn't there; it's down the street. Microsoft wasn't there this year; they were at Microsoft Theatre. So you didn't even bother turning up to LA.
Yeah.
Like you're dying, and stuff like this isn't helping. And you need to figure it out because otherwise, like people are just going to do their own thing, and E3 is not going to be a thing anymore, and that'll be sad because I like
No.
E3. But if you keep pulling shit like this, I'll be happy if you were gone. Number 5. I had a lot of options for number 5 once I'd set the first 4, and I decided I have dripped. It is that warm. I have now dripped sweat on my top,
I was trying not to mention
and now
anything.
I've seen it, and I can't unsee it. Damn you, summer. Anyway, I went in
Damn
a
you,
direction
warmer.
where we might have an interesting discussion. We might not. Let's find out. Streamer sparks debate over whether Twitch should allow breastfeeding. This is from Nathan Grayson over at Kotaku. He writes, when a Twitch streamer breastfed her baby on stream last week, clips of the moment ended up getting removed from Twitch, and it sparked a debate about whether or not the practice violates Twitch's terms of service. Spoiler alert, it doesn't. For a different article that I'm not going to read, but it doesn't. With some arguing that breastfeeding constitutes sexual content. Being a parent on Twitch isn't easy. As independent contractors, parents have to deal with inconsistent work hours, unreliable pay, a lack of healthcare, and a general lack of safety nets should anything go wrong. Streamer, YouTuber, and model Heather Defect Kent took 3 months off after her daughter Margot was born last year. Twitch doesn't offer any form of maternity leave, so she just had to take the hit to her bank account and audience. Now she's run into another complication. During a stream last week, she decided to breastfeed Margot while chatting with a friend. On the same day as the stream in question, another clip in which Kent and her friend discussed a Sports Illustrated modelling audition got posted to the Twitch clip repository and drama crockpot. Freudian slip there. Live stream fail. In this clip, Kent was casually breastfeeding her baby, calling no attention to the act itself. The clip's poster, a fellow parent and fitness streamer who goes by the handle Tomination Time, had good intentions, titling his post Normalizing Breastfeeding on Twitch. It was not well received by many of the posters on Livestream Fail, some of whom jumped to accuse breastfeeding streamers of using their children as an excuse to flash tit and make money from exposing their bodies. Ken says that Twitch took the clip down that day. There's a thing where they haven't responded, but they have. Ken reposted the clip on Twitter and discussed its removal, writing that, quote, we obviously have a long way to go in the fight to normalise breastfeeding, end quote, and noting that an episode of Mr. Rogers' Neighbourhood, once featured on Twitch's front page, focused on breastfeeding much more than her on stream. Quote, where was the outrage when Twitch streamed the Mr. Rogers' Neighbourhood episode about breastfeeding on the front page, she asked. Twitch did actually respond to this. Between now and the original article to say that breastfeeding does not, in fact, violate the terms of service on Twitch, which makes sense. Thoughts?
I mean, it's not against the terms of service. In Britain we had this like whole argument, I think last year, about people like saying it's inappropriate in like public and stuff, and
Cover your baby up with a blanket. Yeah, I remember.
yeah, that was it. Like it's like you should cover up like with a blanket or something and not do it as a thing.
Blanket over your whole like.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw the clip as part of like looking through and doing this story. It's a woman breastfeeding a baby.
Yeah. If the breastfeeding a baby, it's not sexualized content.
Yeah, that I died a little inside when I had to read that part out, I almost like you almost vomited everywhere because what is wrong with you? Like repetitive sexualized content. There are people like, oh, it's just an excuse to flash tit and get money from people. No, she's feeding her child. You fucking. I won't finish that thought, but
I'm guessing the people who said that are the same ones that complain about, how all like, women on Twitch are just, only getting all the views because
oh yeah,
they're pretty.
like if I just like do this, I'll probably edit that. I'll just like get myself doing a thumbs up. There we go. That'll do. The
editing by Amy Alexander.
I mean,
just like written in.
Yeah. Oops. I'll just put oops underneath like as a caption.
Yeah.
I don't know where a discussion of this like nature was going to go. Was that this or the mixer thing? Did you read about the mixer thing?
I didn't quite hear that. Oh, the ninja going to mixer.
No, I mean this is what caused the ninja going to mixer. But like people started talking about like because now it's like everybody, are you going to mixer? Even I've been asked, are you going over to mixer? And it's like no, I'm not going over to mixer. Like I know I don't really have anything to lose by moving, but I'm not going to mixer. Mixer doesn't have Twitch Prime. Excuse me. Mixer doesn't have Twitch Prime, so I'm not going anywhere. But the I'm just dripping with sweat right now. Note to self: next week, wear dark t-shirt.
Or pray for cold.
Or pray for winter.
Winter is coming, but not doing enough.
No, like someone was asking, like, and some like lady streamers posted the terms of service on Mixer, which is like it was talking about how much skin you're allowed to show. Like depending on like how much like what age rating your stream gets, and apparently, if you wear a top which is just has straps, so like the ones I wear, like from time to time, like teen or above, like if it's covering like the girls but it has straps, teen or above. If you're just wearing a top that doesn't have straps and it's showing your full shoulder, 18 plus. 18 plus, I'm not even joking.
I think someone who was perhaps very lawful neutral in alignment came up with that.
I think someone who didn't think through what that actually says about women's bodies wrote that, and maybe you might want to think about rewriting that because that's not a great take at all.
Basically, just sexualizing the shoulders.
Well, no, you see, that's like implying that women's bodies are sexual by design. Like, I don't even know if I could get away with just this on Mixer. We might have to be teenager only.
Hi, don't nunnery.
Let's move on to games out this week because I'm slowly, as you can see, I'm slowly melting. Yeah. For real this time. So
games out this week. We have 4 games out on August the 6th. August the 6th. Haven't gone into October yet. So we've got DC Universe Online on Switch, Hearthstone, Savers of Oldham on PC and mobile, Metal Wolf Chaos XD on PC, PS4, Xbox One, then Ages Wonders Planetfall on the PC, PS4, and Xbox One. Then on the 8th, we have Pillars of Eternity, the complete edition on Switch, Lord of the Rings Adventure Card Game, PC, PS4, Xbox One, and Switch. Surprised that wasn't already a thing. And then on the 9th, we have Turok 2, Seed of Evil on Switch.
See, normally at this point, I would jump in and I'd be like, this game is the game that I'm looking forward to most. So this game sounds really interesting, but I'm going to be playing Fire Emblem.
Yeah.
Sorry, all other games.
This stream's going to end in like 20 seconds and Amy will be straight back in the Fire Emblem.
I mean, I might get a towel first.
Might.
We'll see. Like, you just slowly see, like, it's soaking into the front of my hair, like, as the podcast goes on. You can tell people who have been skipping around on the timestamps, like, if you've been watching this out of order, like, I imagine it's been an experience just seeing where my hair's at,
Yeah.
how much sweat there is on my t-shirt. But yes, that is going to do it for episode 169 of the Words About Gamescast. I debated what to do because I knew it was 169. I just went with a wink, with a little subtle understated thing. My other thought was to go in completely the opposite direction, and every time I said 69, just hit the rap air horn.
Oh god, you didn't do that.
Now it makes me want to do it when I get 269. Like 2 years?
I'm hoping the attention span isn't that long. Wait, I know his attention span isn't that long.
Rap air horns won't be a thing, well, it's all be fine.
No! It will be the whistle.
We won't have the internet anymore because Brexit will have destroyed our entire country, so, we might not make it to 269.
At this rate, it's actually possible the world won't exist anymore. It'll just spontaneously combusted or drowned.
I mean, if
That
we
might
get,
just be brutal.
if we get 4 more years of Trump, potentially. That's going to do it for episode 169 of the Words About Gamescast. I'm going to go melt into a puddle in the corner playing Fire Emblem. Thank you very much for joining me, Keith. And we'll see you all next week, unless you're here on Wednesday, in which case we'll see you for Friendly Debates, where we're doing a top 10 to make up for the fact that we haven't done an episode for a while. Say bye, Keith.
Bye-bye.